Hello, my friends. James Junta here, your favorite hypnotherapist, and I have yet another hypnotic metaphor for you for today. This is based on a true story. A hypnotic metaphor is a story that is used to teach the subconscious. The subconscious understands the story and understands how to apply the lesson, and your subconscious knows how to apply the lesson to your situation in particular, and you will derive the wisdom that you need from the story. This is a familiar story. Perhaps you've seen the movie called Apollo 13. It is a true story of three astronauts who were heading to the moon. Back in the early 1970s, it was the third manned mission to the moon. And on the way to the moon, there was an explosion on board, and they were losing oxygen. The astronauts are trained for emergencies, so they got right on it right away, but there was some panic initially because they didn't know what happened. The astronauts heard a loud bang. There was shaking in the craft. Ground control saw that something was happening because ground control can monitor all of the instruments on board using radio signals back and forth from the ship. So they understood something was going on, but nobody knew what it was, what the emergency was. And it was pandemonium in the flight control room. So in order to get everyone focused on a solution, the flight controller said to the room, all right, let's approach this from a standpoint of status. What do we have on the ship that's good? Now that changed, it shifted the whole energy in the room, and you can see it in the movie. It's a pretty accurate depiction of what's going on, according to the people who had been there. Everybody started focusing on what they could use rather than what was going wrong. Of course, they were deeply interested in what was going wrong, but they needed a solution. The idea wasn't to find out what was going wrong. The idea was to get a solution so that these astronauts could stay alive and eventually get home. Now, the metaphor is useful to us in terms of anxiety and depression. If you're ever experiencing anxiety or depression, or if you know someone who has experienced these things, here is a metaphor that you can use to help them get centered within themselves. Another word for centering is grounding. Sometimes we call it earthing. Earthing, grounding, centering. It's a way of finding your internal resources that you can use at the moment. It's not about development. It's about being in the moment, mindfulness, using what you have right now to restore right now, and then you can move forward. So the question has come up with my clients, how in the world do you get grounding if you're on a spaceship to the moon? There is no ground. Or what if you're on a flight from Atlanta to Detroit? There's no grounding. Well, another word for it is centering. You want to become centered and balanced within yourself. So in order to do that, you'll breathe. Remember that the work I do with my clients is all about integration. We're integrating mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So mental state, you want to know that you are in control. You are aware of your surroundings. You know what it is that's bothering you right now. You want to associate that with your physical body. Breathing is something that always goes on. You can always focus on your breathing. Shift your attention to your breathing. If you know that you're breathing, you know that you're all right. You have what you need. You're getting oxygen. When you focus on your breathing, it shifts for a moment, but then it relaxes. Focus on your breathing. Notice that your heart rate is associated with your breathing. This is all about centering, okay? And integrating. So right now we have mental and physical. While you're doing this, conjure a pleasant emotion. It doesn't have to be happiness or joy. It can be contentment. Contentment is an emotion. It's a state that you're in when there's nothing wrong. Contentment is not the same as joy or happiness. And believe me, look, I have experienced severe depression and anxiety. I understand that when you're in that state, you're not interested in tap dancing on the table. You just want to be okay with yourself. So contentment, practice contentment. Contentment, ideally, is the default state that you have when you wake up. If all is well within you and around you, you'll have contentment once you know you're awake. Of course, after that, your mind might go to the problems you're having in your life currently, but there is that few seconds of contentment in the morning when you know you're awake and you know you're okay. There's another day ahead of you. So the Apollo 13 metaphor is to concentrate what you have in your vessel that's good. You are a spaceship going through space on the planet Earth. What do you have in your vessel right now that's good? What is it that you can use? What internal resources do you have? Do you have concentration? Do you have intelligence, patience? Do you have resilience? I'm sure that you do. You know how I know you have resilience? I can prove it to you right now. I can prove that you have resilience because right now you have lived through every ridiculous, stupid, difficult thing that has ever happened to you. You lived through it and you're here now and you're here to tell the story. That's proof that you have resilience. You picked up and you kept going. So if you are a hypnotherapist, why don't you adapt this Apollo 13 metaphor for your own clients? If you're interested in hypnotherapy, give me a call. I'll certify you. You can go through the class with me. And if you want to use this for yourself for anxiety and depression, remember this is a centering and grounding and earthing exercise, also known as mindfulness. So let me know how this works for you. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.